Welcome. It's Annette Compo with Opening Doors with me. This week, once again, I have a fantastic person that's a guest in studio, which obviously you are not a guest. We have literally been friends for over 20 years, and it's truly my pleasure to have Channelle Kizy-White, the founder and owner of Kizy Law Firm.
Yes.
So Channelle, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored to even be selected to be here. So this is pretty cool.
Really?
I do.
We have spent so many coffees. This is literally, I told you when you were coming on, you're like, Annette, I don't want to do this. And I was like,
Yeah.
how many coffees or lunches that we have had in our lifetime? We've talked about family, we've talked about life, we've talked about business, and then we talk about Annette and all of her problems sometimes.
Oh, and Channelle and all of her crazy children and problems sometimes. Yes, always.
So I'm truly honored to have you because you represent my past and my present, and obviously my future as my friend, my cohort, and almost your family. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, I feel the same as well.
So Channelle, being such an admirer of yours and watching you grow from where you started from, tell us a little bit about when the light bulb went off that you said, I think I want to go into law.
So it started when I was very little, probably about 6 or 7. I remember telling my mom I wanted to be the first female Supreme Court justice, not really realizing that had already happened, mainly because I'm very bossy. I really like to be in control. And to me, that was like the ultimate power because I could really tell everybody what to do. And when you're a judge, they have to listen to you, where like nobody has the option to say no or run away. So I just was kind of, I'm not going to lie, I think a little bit was a power trip, and that was sort of my road. So I wanted to be a Supreme Court justice when I was little. And as that evolved, you have to be a lawyer first to get into being a judge. And then I ended up falling in love with becoming a lawyer. Then I was like, okay, not Supreme Court because I have to go to DC to do that. I want to stay local because I could never leave my family. That will never happen. And so I was like, all right, I'll be a local judge. Well, then once I started practicing, the more I practiced, the less I wanted to be a judge and the more I wanted to just stay being a lawyer. So that's how the path got me there.
That's incredible. And how old do you think you were?
I feel like it was first grade-ish. Like I remember Sister Judy was my teacher, and Sister Judy was my teacher in first grade because I remember talking to her about it. And so first grade.
Well, and it's huge because if you look at, going back to grade school, there's always that teacher that poured into you, that there was some sort of connection that you felt completely safe, that you could really become, and think about your authenticity. And at that age, safe is like almost weird, right? Because, there's now becoming almost not really expectations, but, you're trying to figure out the other kids in your classroom. It kind of almost sometimes dampens that childlike imagination.
Yeah.
And so to have a teacher to be able to allow you to have that, I had that as well. It was actually my first grade teacher.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was Miss Brandell, and she was an incredible teacher. I mean, I've had great teachers after that.
Yeah.
But I always love those stories of what was that first opportunity you realized that you're going to be, or in some sort of that industry that you ended up, being in. So
yeah.
Yeah, and so when you looked at that, and now you're a mom, right?
Yes, I
You have
am.
tell us about your family.
My family, I have a husband. We got married in 2008, so what is that? However many years that is. We've been together a very long time.
That is awesome because I know him personally, and I know he's going to watch this. He's going to be like, you don't know how long we've been married?
He's going to say an eternity. But we've been together since 1998.
Okay.
So it's been a very long time, 28 years. Then I have a 16-year-old daughter, Samantha. I have a 14-year-old son, Christopher, and a 10-and-a-half-year-old son, Gabriel.
Nice.
And they all have very different personalities. And as of today, I love all of them. I love them. I'm so excited to see what they're going to bring me. They are amazing children. Asked me several months ago or last year. I was trying to sell them.
So. Yes, I actually think I talked you off the ledge, and I said, no, we can't sell our children.
No, I've tried to beg, borrow, and steal to get rid of them sometimes.
Yeah.
But
your mom has stepped in a couple times, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, she likes to do that.
But they're great. Being a mom is the biggest challenge in life. I will say, I think being a parent, especially in society today, is about 4,000 times harder than being a lawyer. Like, I could pick up a case today and you tell me I'm in trial tomorrow, get caught up, figure it out, you got to show up. I feel like I can handle that better than sometimes the stress of certain parenting decisions.
Yeah. So
So,
looking at your kids, when did have they already started to have those conversations with you like you had? Like for you, it was first grade going into law. Have they had any conversations with you, like of things that they're thinking about, imagination?
yeah, I mean, it's all fluid. I mean, my youngest has decided he's going to own a business, and my middle child will be his janitor. So he's
That's
for sure
awesome.
that's happening. My daughter now, as of like the last year and a half or so, has said she wants to be a lawyer. But, when she was younger, it was makeup artist, hairstylist. There was a period of time where it was a chef, and I tried to explain that those are hobbies. Those are not things that we do for a living because you're going to get your ass off my payroll. So that's developed now into a career. And my middle son just wants to be an entrepreneur. He says that. He's like, I just want to be a business owner. I don't know what kind of business. I just want to own something. I want to be in charge, probably like his mom, want to be in charge and be in
Sure.
control. But they develop like over the years. Everything changes. I'm sure Trevor didn't grow up thinking he was going to be a realtor.
Nope, he did not. And it's funny, of course, you and I know each other's kids really well, and you see where Trevor is today. And then, of course, now you've seen Jules and where she's going with the artist. And it's just interesting to watch as their parents, but also as business owners, which
Yeah.
I'm truly blessed to have my friendship with you because my kids look at you as family.
Oh my gosh, you're going to make me cry. Stop.
And so one of the neat things is that because of my industry, because of your industry, we've been able to leverage resources for our kids to be able to say, hey, if you want to try out this industry, let's get you a day or a time that you can spend with someone that's doing that, that will expose them to it in a more deeper, and it's not just an imagination conversation. It's like, oh, wait, this is the mechanics. This is the meat and potatoes of what it actually looks like. And it's not so fictitiously designed that kids
Yeah.
sometimes will make it, be like when you're rationalizing becoming an attorney, you're rationalizing it, oh, I got to go to DC, I got to do this, that's not going to work. Well, that was later in life,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
so having, more of those elevated conversations. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was, first I wanted to thank you publicly.
Oh God.
You have been the attorney for the community that I support, which obviously, CARES and the nonprofit, the food pantry. I just openly want to say you have stepped in for clients that have used CARES or have known Todd, our executive director, and your biggest success story and I believe your story of what type of an attorney you are is the woman that you helped when she was the stay-home mom with the kids and the dad wanted the divorce.
Trying
And
not to cry.
she had no money.
Yes.
And she loved her kids, and her husband was taking advantage of her
Right.
to levels that obviously we don't need to get in just to protect, the situation. And then and was taking her kids away from her. And
Yeah.
I called you. I called you as my friend. And instantly, now you're gonna make me cry. The instantly you said to me, "No problem, Annette. I got this."
Yeah.
And then fast forward, right? To see her today, she's remarried. Her kids are healthy. There's, obviously joint custody that's
Yeah.
fair for both parties. And I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Tears are
So,
drying
but
up.
honestly, Channelle, like that is how when I think of you as the best family law attorney, and that's the example that I use for people because you lead with a heart.
Yeah.
Your leadership is incredible, and it's not just in your clients. I mean, I know your staff, and how they have shown up over the years. And one of them's been with you since
Since my son was born,
yes,
actually. So
yeah,
since
she's been with you forever.
14 years,
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. I really have grown now that I'm about to hit 20 years of practice, which is very exciting for me. I'm actually really excited about it. I don't feel old. I feel like now I finally have some street cred, a little extra respect on the field. But it's the reputation that I have now earned, and I know this among judges, among other lawyers, and just on the streets, is that I litigate with a heart. And I really do. I genuinely care about the people that I represent, because if I don't, or you're somebody that I think is not worthy of being just somebody who's rude or disrespectful or what
Right.
I consider
Wrong
disgusting,
intentions.
wrong intentions, I won't take the case. I mean, I won't. And I do always try to give back to society. I always have a pro bono case or two that I'm doing to try to help those that can't afford legal services but really need it. I just don't have the business capacity to take on more than one or two at a time. But that's always been my mission, to always be there. I mean, because in reality, although I wanted it was a whole power trip, there is a deep, and maybe it's the Catholic in me, but it's the I've always wanted to help people. And this is how I help people. And by me helping people to understand how to properly get through a divorce and not screw up their kids in the process, ultimately, I really am helping society in the long term, because your kid's not going to be screwed up and they will hopefully positively contribute to society instead of negatively. And it's a pay it forward type of a thing. And, I don't want your kid to be president if they're really screwed up and then making decisions that are going to impact me in the future. So there is a selfish motivation
You
too.
always swing it around for me.
Yeah, there is a selfish motivation, and it's what we create in life. So we try to create a positive society for our kids with people that can contribute and not be boneheads.
Yes. No, it's absolutely correct. And I
Yeah.
think that we've talked about how kids are raised, right? Being
Yeah.
the parent that we need to be, because you have a lot of plates to keep juggling, or
Still less than you, I
spinning.
think.
Well, okay, this isn't a competition, right? So, but it's seriously, when you look at being a mom, being a business owner, and then of course being the business owner, but also being a great attorney, because you can be the best attorney, but not a good business owner and not be successful.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time. I use a plumber, or, the trades. I mean, you can be the best plumber, the most talented, creative person, but if you're not making money to have your business be able to sustain itself over 12 months, be able to pay the bills and also pay yourself and pay your staff, it happens all the time. And that's one of the biggest business failures that's out there, and the most vulnerability for people. So tell me a little bit about how you're juggling that. Is it a community that you've built around you? How do you juggle being a mom, a business owner, and the best attorney?
So I juggle it by tapping every resource I have. There is no way I would have ever been where I am today without I have the most amazing mother-in-law in the world. So I'm very thankful for that. I have in-laws. My in-laws generally are great. The reason that's important is because when I was working 9,000 hours a week, my mom, my mother-in-law, and my aunt-in-law, my husband's aunt, stepped in and took care of the kids all day, every day when we were working. To some degree, I missed out on a lot with my kids, so there was a sacrifice. I missed first day of school 3 years in a row. I missed lunch mom when I volunteered and I was supposed to. These are things that happened 15, 17 years ago. Not 17, 15 or 12 years ago. And obviously I still remember. So
The
to some
sloppy joes
degree,
are still the same. So I think
Yeah.
I think we're going to
to
get
some
through that.
degree, I'm scarred a little bit, but the balancing is using those resources and making and building a community. Like my kids can be in sports because I make sure that I pop in. I have a good personality. I make friends. I make all the other moms like me so that they will help with carpool. And then now we have a community of carpool. And then I've made some really great friends because of it. So it's about building a community of resources, because once you start talking, everybody's in the same boat, but some people just don't open their mouth. So it's like when I say, oh my gosh, I have to work and I have this and that struggle, somebody else is the same issue. But my struggle is picking up kids in the afternoon. Their struggle is getting kids somewhere in the morning. And so you just tap into that and everybody meshes together and cooperate, and it becomes a beautiful thing. So my kids have not had to struggle of not being involved in things, or, well, there's some stuff we still can't get to, but I've had a community around me that has helped. Without family and friends, there would be no way that I am, because that's allowed me time to build my business.
Well, but it's
And
also
so-
your leadership, right?
Yeah.
Because understanding how to build that community, and
Yeah, that's
and
true.
showing your vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
And teaching people through your behavior that vulnerability is okay, right? Because how do you
Yeah.
leverage resources and help others to understand how to leverage those resources without first showing up
Yeah.
with that vulnerability? And so you said, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
But and then realizing that other people had that same need,
Mm-hmm.
and it was okay to talk about that, because I think this super cape mom theory needs to be washed away.
Yeah. People
Because
are scared to show weakness.
they really are.
Yeah.
And I've seen the biggest growth, the biggest impact in people's lives for quality of life and their children's life based off of it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and that weakness thing too, which is interesting. I was like, I have to be strong and empowered, and I can handle everything. But when you start to ask for help, at first I saw that as showing weakness, and that's why I didn't want to do it. But then I was like, oh my gosh, this is showing that I'm even stronger and smarter, because I'm showing a little bit of vulnerability, but it's gaining me strength and it's gaining me power, because now I'm empowered to do more things because I showed that vulnerability. So I used to think it's weakness. Now I don't. Very different perspective, which is very interesting.
Well, and that's leadership growth.
Yeah.
Right. And
That's
now
true.
it's impacting your business because of that. And
Yeah.
it's impacting your children's life long term, and it's impacting your community, right? Which
Yeah.
is huge. So tell us a little bit about your law firm. So you practice family law. What does that mean?
So I practice family law, which I tell everybody I deal with all baby mama drama.
I can't believe that. That's
Which is, it's just my funny way of saying anything that relates to custody, divorce, child support, property issues, separation, anything that falls under that realm. I don't do like trusts and estates and life planning. People think that that's family law. It's not really what I practice. And I didn't always start out that way. So I used to just do criminal defense when I first started practicing for a few years. And then I took on a divorce case just to try it out and loved it and turned out, oh my gosh, I'm really good at this. And then that turned into another. So we are, I would say, a 99% family law practice. I still dabble in traffic tickets and small criminal stuff, but I don't really count that as much. But what's really exciting is I am now transitioning my practice to also add on mediation of family law cases. So I will serve as the neutral mediator with parties and their attorneys to come in and try to neutralize and get everybody to negotiate a compromise and resolve their cases. So that's really blown up. And I really do love that because then I feel like I can just kind of help everybody and see both sides of things. Because when you're an attorney, you only get the one side. And you can kind of start to help people see things from different perspectives instead of being so laser focused on their own stuff.
So if someone was out there kind of contemplating, like, you know what, my life right now is not what it I want it to be. It doesn't feel like it was supposed to be. I've exhausted all options to kind of keep the union together. What is the best first step at that point for that individual?
The best first step is to call an attorney and just have a consult. Well, nowadays I hear it's different. I don't charge for a consult, for the initial consult. And the reason for that is because just as much as you're interviewing me, I'm interviewing you. So if you're going to come in and pay me because you've hired me and I haven't met you yet and then I don't like you, I don't really want this to go forward either.
I
So
wonder why your business is so successful.
so let's try to interview each other together. But I want to hear the whole story. I want to be able to counsel. And you know what? Divorce is not always the best option for people. And I actually put this on a little tick sheet. I have saved a number of marriages, not as many as I would like, which is contrary to my career, right? I'm a divorce attorney, so you would think I want people divorced. But again, I litigate with a heart. I'm not trying to break up families if they don't need to be. And divorce life is not always easier than living together life. Sometimes people can be cooperative roommates if you're not fighting and getting along, although maybe you don't love each other, maybe you're not sleeping together, maybe things are not a happy family. That could still be better than being divorced and fighting about it. And it's about the environment you're providing for your kids. And so to really look at it and see, like, is divorce actually the best option? Or maybe it's not the best option now. Or maybe it is. I mean, it's time to do it. You tried everything and whatever, but let's assess it. Let's not rush into it. It's not a decision. I do not put a gun to people's heads at consults and say, decide now, hire me or not. I tell every single person, take your time, think about it. It's a big decision. Sure, you can go back on it, but once it's filed, it's always going to be in your heads, even if you dismiss it, that was an option. So it's a really big life-changing thing to do, and it shouldn't be taken lightly.
No, and I think, it's funny going back to how we met, right? I was actually a client. And, so I can actually give you a testimony because here it is 22 years later, we're still friends. Our friendships didn't start because we networked together, which is a great way to meet people, but it actually I was your client. And everything that you are saying today is exactly why our friendship became what it was, because I saw the value in what you were doing for not only my life, but it's interesting too is that when, because it's one of the things that propelled me in my real estate career. I became certified obviously in divorce, and I also became certified into probate. So
was that because of me?
It was.
Get the heck out of here.
So at the end of the day,
oh my gosh,
I realized that if I was going to be taking, business from you, as your mediation business started to happen, I needed to really be able to meet the client where the client was at, because it was coming from you. And that's obviously my pledge being a business owner. And so how else do I not do that is to really jump into the life that client is having. And I think that's what you do. You aren't pushing them towards a divorce or a mediation or anything. You're just having the educational conversation with them that probably a lot of people don't get,
Right.
depending on who they choose to be that first step.
Yeah.
And so I really commend you,
Oh,
about,
thank you.
your little tick sheet, I think you called it,
Yeah.
right, of saving marriages. Because I think that people realize that, life puts these boxes around situations, and one of them, I believe community puts around divorce. Like, this is your only option if you are miserable. Well, that isn't always the only
There's
option,
other
because
workarounds.
lifespan changes, right? Mindsets change. Sometimes people think they need to have a divorce because the interests have changed, they've fallen out of love. Well, you can fall out of love and fall back in,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
so, but if you have a divorce in the middle of that, it changes the energy of the relationship. So having, I think, that educational piece that you do, it's critical, and it really is your competitive advantage. I don't know if you realize that.
I don't. But one thing that I love is that, and I don't think very many attorneys do this, and probably why I have the reputation I have, but I really have made friends with a lot of my clients. And I will call and check in on a client 6 months later, a year later, or like some song will pop up that happened to be a song that was playing that reminded me of a certain case. And I'll call and say, hey, I just heard Luke Bryan play it again. It just made me think of you, whatever. And I'll call and check in, and people appreciate that because I'm like, what's the update? How are the kids doing? How are you doing? Have you moved on? But I will tell you, it scares the crap out of people when they see my number on their caller ID, like calling 6 months later, a year later. Oh my gosh, what happened? What did he file? Why are we going back to court? Like, so I do
I can
try to be
imagine.
like calm. So I don't call multiple times, but it's great. And I love the updates. I love hearing what's going on. I love to see if I really impacted somebody positively, or are they totally in a dumpster, which thankfully I haven't had anybody end up in a dumpster that I know of. So I think I'm doing a pretty decent job.
Yeah, I think you're doing a fantastic job for sure.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit what's in the future. Yeah, I know you just talked about your mediation expanding. So what does that look like?
So that's the future. For me, I plan to retire on mediating only. And that's because it's a lot calmer. You don't necessarily take the cases home with you. It's whatever you do in the office. You either get a resolution or you don't. But for now, I love the litigation. I love what I'm doing. The plan is to just keep doing what I'm doing and build this practice. Now that my daughter's interested, maybe she'll be a part of it in the future. Although I told her flat out she is not working for me right when she starts. She needs to go learn, learn from somebody else.
You have a
and
great
then come
network
back.
to be able to
Yes.
give her the opportunity to meet new attorneys.
And I'm not going to hand over. I'm not making life easy for you. That's not what I'm here for. You got to earn it, and she
Fair
has to
enough.
earn it too. Even though she's my kid, just because I have a firm doesn't mean it's yours. So she has to get there. But that's it. I mean, where I am now in a stride, and this is all very recent, like within the last year, that I feel like I have finally hit my stride. And I think from all the older attorneys that used to tell me, you haven't seen nothing until you hit 20. You need to hit 20 to hit 20. And there's a lot of truth to that. I'll be 20 years out in November. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And I think there's just a lot of, I've been able to fix the mistakes that I've made, or, really hone down or like hone in on the direction that I want to go. So I'm starting to set that retirement path by building the mediation practice. I will still litigate. I'm going to do both and still represent people for at least another, how old am I? At least another 10 or 15 years. And then
Well, succession planning is huge. It doesn't start the last 5 years.
Right.
Succession plan, I tell all business owners, really starts at that 15-year mark.
Yeah.
Because to bring somebody in to understand what that even looks like, you first got to find them, right? And that isn't something that you just post a job resume at, right? And you say, I'm looking for this individual. So it's definitely a career process as you're growing your business. So here on the podcast, we have a tradition. So tell us, if you came up with, you met the younger version of yourself, what is the piece of advice you would give her?
Right off the bat, I would say, don't be so hard-headed and let people help you. Because when I started off, I was always like, nope, I don't want you to give me your connection. I'm not going to use, you know so-and-so that knows so-and-so. I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to show you that I can do it by myself. I was an idiot. That's stupid. There's no reason for that. Now looking back, I am doing well and great, and I would never trade where I'm at today, but I still go back and wonder. There were a couple instances where my dad said, your uncle's friend has somebody that has a law firm. Why don't you call them and try to talk to them and see if they'll get you in? But I was like, no, I want to do this on my own, Dad. I want to do it on my own. I'm an idiot. Who knows where that would have taken me? Maybe I would have ended up at the same place. But you should not be hard-headed, because that's what that's there for. Because now I see all these other kids that well, I'm an adult now, but these other people that took advantage of those resources. So I think it probably would have helped me get here faster. I think I would have ended up here as well, like at the same place, but I would have got there faster if I would have used the other resources, which would have been nicer. But
But your journey is beautiful,
it's
Channelle,
great.
as you
It's been
know.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
fun. And everything's fun.
If you have any questions, Chanelle's always open for them. We will have at the bottom of the screen all of her contact information, as it's always there with any of my guests. And you will not be disappointed if you need Channelle and her services. Channelle, thank you once again for not only being, helping people in need when I've called you when I've needed,
Always.
being the best attorney, the best mom. But honestly, Channelle, just thank you for
Do you make
seriously
me cry again?
just being such a close friend of mine, and I just adore and love you. And so, thank you for being on this podcast.
Oh, thank you. I am super honored. This was actually a really big deal to me to be here. I was actually nervous and I survived it. So I'm glad and I don't even get nervous going to court, but I was nervous coming here. So anyway, thank you for having me.
Yes. Until the next edition, we'll see you then.